The original Crash Bandicoot is probably one of the hardest 3D platformers of all time. Some critics, while reviewing the Insane trilogy, compared it to the likes of Dark Souls. Clearly, we've been spoiled. Crash Bandicoot is definitely frustrating, but I wouldn't necessarily call it Dark Souls hard. Crash Bandicoot takes place on 3 different islands and takes about 7 hours to complete. Your task is to collect lives, 1 per fruit for more lives. Aku Aku has to act as your health, collecting 3 allows you to become invincible for a short period of time, collect all the boxes for a diamond at the end, and dodge as many enemies and obstacles along your way. Levels also hold secret areas that you unlock by finding character heads inside of boxes. These secret rooms definitely come in handy when you're nearing the level's end and are running out of lives. Most people will tell you to stay away from the original Crash Bandicoot, and I think you'd be missing out if you do so. Crash Bandicoot is very beatable, and there's so many cool memorable levels to experience. But we'll take some patience, as this is practically a trial and error platformer with a dash of luck. The cheapness is what gives the original Crash such a bad rap. The game is insanely inconsistent with its checkpoints. They're extremely long and challenging levels here, some took me over 30 minutes to complete. And these harder levels where I feel like checkpoints are needed the most, hardly had any at all compared to the smaller levels. At least not as frequent. The game will even withhold checkpoints from you if it feels you have too many lives. It's almost as if the game knows you need a little luck on your side by not letting you just have a checkpoint that's supposed to be in a certain spot because it wants to drain your lives from you. Levels like the famous boulder chases or the boar riding are other examples of this game setting out to life drain you. Running towards a camera with only half of a second to react, or not knowing which way a certain enemy in your way is going to go to next, turning it into a game of memorization. There are no passwords here for cheats in the remastered version either, but there is autosaving and save slots. This does make the game much more manageable, allowing you to go back to earlier levels and grind for some lives before you enter a level that's giving you a hard time. But definitely don't go off of your autosave, as the game does constantly save, and if you collect a life drop in a level, it will never be there again until you complete the level. This life grinding is so important because once you lose all your lives, you have to start a level all over again, no matter how deep you are into it. The platforming here feels pretty stiff and hard to read at times, which isn't helped by the inconsistent distances of objects in this game. Also not helped by the fact that this is indeed a 3D platformer. No invisible walls around. You can easily jump behind an object you mean to jump onto, though this no invisible wall thing means you can exploit the game at times and take advantage of certain ledges, which I appreciate. There are also 6 bosses here, which like the boulder dash levels are a nice break from the platforming. Sure, like the rest of the game, they're also trial and error, as it's hard to tell what you're supposed to be doing. But once you figure it out, they're all fairly easy to defeat, and a nice de-stressor from the cheap platforming and cheap enemies that force you to be just the right distance away to not take damage. Some enemies like the annoying horned lizard are probably the most garbage enemies in gaming history, and practically force you to have an Aku Aku mask to pass. Crash Bandicoot is a tough game. It's a hard game, but hard for all the wrong reasons. That being said, I still think it's fun and worth your time and test the patience to see through to its end.